25 points, 7 assists, 5 rebounds. Those are the numbers LaMelo Ball averaged last season. On paper, it looks like a rising superstar stat line, the kind that makes fans believe a new era is coming. But if you look just a little closer, the picture isn't that shiny. LaMelo shot a career low from the field and from deep, and his team, Charlotte Hornets, ended up with the 3rd worst record in the entire league. It's a stat line that perfectly captures the chaos around him. Flashy, but flawed. This is now his 6th season in the NBA, and somehow we're still asking the same question. Is LaMelo a true all-star stuck in a broken franchise? Or is he just putting up pretty numbers that don't actually translate to winning? Because the league has seen players like this before. Guys who can score, can entertain, can sell tickets. But when it's time to win, they disappear. And in the NBA, superstars don't just look good on the box score, they drag teams into the postseason. And that's where LaMelo's story gets complicated. No one's saying even Michael Jordan himself could have turned this Hornets roster into a championship team overnight. But there's a reason why true superstars almost never miss the playoffs, even with average squads around them. LaMelo hasn't crossed that line yet. One big reason? Efficiency. Last season wasn't just a dip, it was the worst shooting stretch of his entire career. Out of every player averaging more than 25 points per game, LaMelo ranked dead last in efficiency. Not second, not third, last. Add to that the fact that he was second in the entire league in turnovers and had one of the worst plus-minus ratings, and you start to understand why the hype around him feels split down the middle. But here's where things get even more interesting. Because for everything he does wrong, LaMelo also does things that only a handful of players in the world can do. This is the same player who exploded for 67 points across 2 nights against Boston Celtics, doing it with insane circus-like shot-making, fadeaways while falling backwards, step-backs with defenders glued to his jersey, deep contested threes like he's playing a video game on rookie mode. He cooked Derek White on one possession, shook Peyton Pritchard on another, and made the Celtics defense look like it was standing still. This is the paradox of LaMelo Ball. One night, he looks like an unstoppable scoring artist, a guard who can torch elite defenders and light up the scoreboard like no one else. But across an entire season, that same playing style becomes a gamble. The kind of shots he takes aren't built to sustain winning basketball over 82 games. There's a reason why almost no other star in the league plays that way. And the craziest part? Even this preseason, he's still pulling up from deep, still fading away, still living on tough shots. It's breathtaking to watch, but also a warning sign, because that same unpredictability that makes him exciting can also be the thing that holds him back from becoming the superstar everyone once believed he'd be. Last season, there was a stretch where LaMelo Ball looked like he was on the edge of becoming a legit superstar. He didn't just start the year well, he set it on fire. Over his first 15 games, LaMelo was must-watch television, averaging 31 points and 7 assists per game, while letting it fly with 13 three-point attempts every single night. And here's the thing. He wasn't just jacking up shots. He was making them at a clip good enough to silence every critic in the building. There's one game that truly captures the high of that moment. And surprisingly, it's not the 50-piece against Milwaukee Bucks. It's not the back-to-back fireworks show against Boston Celtics. Not even the 44 he hung on Orlando Magic. The game that stands out is just the second game of the season against Atlanta Hawks. Why? Because in that game, LaMelo went nuclear. He dropped 9 threes and each one was crazier than the last. The first couple were smooth rhythm shots. But after that, it was pure chaos. Heat check after heat check. Deep step-backs, fading pull-ups, transition bombs from the logo. Shots that most players wouldn't dare to take. LaMelo not only dared, he buried them. But then came the crash. In that same game, he also turned the ball over 10 times. He finished with a negative plus-minus. And Charlotte lost. That, right there, is the LaMelo Ball experience in one night. On one hand, he makes you believe he might be the toughest shot maker in the league. A name whispered alongside Stephen Curry and Kyrie Irving. But on the other hand, those guys do it every single game. Play after play, possession after possession. LaMelo hasn't reached that level of consistency yet. The difference became even clearer as the season unfolded. In those first 18 games, he was on a heater. But by the time the last 29 games rolled around, the magic started fading. His shooting cooled off. Defenses adjusted. The same impossible shots that went in early on started missing. And suddenly the Hornets' offense felt as unstable as it's ever been. Now here's the twist. The problem isn't actually his three-point shooting. In fact, historically, that's been the most efficient part of his game. His touch from deep is real. His confidence out there is elite. The real issue is everything inside the arc, especially at the rim. Last season, LaMelo shot under 51% at the rim. Yup, you heard that right. 51%. For someone standing 6'8" with elite ball handling and great touch, that number is shockingly bad. And when you stack it up against every other guard who attempted at least 150 shots at the rim, guess where he ranked? Dead last. And this isn't just a one-year dip. This has been a consistent pattern since he entered the league. For years, his finishing around the basket has been his Achilles heel. Whether it's missed layups, awkward floaters, or overcomplicating plays, he just hasn't figured out how to dominate inside. And the frustrating part? There's no reason a player with his size and talent should be this bad at the rim. Guys like Trae Young, sure, they struggle sometimes. They're smaller, less athletic, it makes sense. But LaMelo is a 6'8" floor general with a creative bag that most guards would kill for. Yet when it comes to finishing at the basket, he looks ordinary. And when defenses know you can't consistently finish inside, it becomes a blueprint. They chase you off the three-point line, load up at the rim, and suddenly, all those tough stepbacks aren't enough to carry a team. This is where LaMelo's game gets exposed. Because being entertaining isn't the same as being unstoppable. Superstars find multiple ways to score: easy buckets at the rim, getting to the free throw line, breaking defenses down. LaMelo's shot-making might light up highlight reels, but it's his finishing, or lack of it, that holds him back from becoming that next-level force. It's honestly crazy to say this, but this isn't some new weakness we're just now discovering about LaMelo Ball. This has been a storyline quietly building since the moment he stepped into the league. For a guy with his kind of size, handle, and skill to still be this poor of a finisher at the rim, it's simply inexcusable. He's 6'8", fluid with the ball, and one of the most creative offensive talents of his generation. Yet when it comes to actually putting pressure on the rim, it's like all that talent suddenly fades away. And that's what makes it so frustrating, because when someone has that physical profile, fans expect dominance, not hesitation. Look at players like Josh Giddey. He isn't some explosive high flyer. He isn't even known as a freak athlete. But still, last season he finished far better around the rim than LaMelo. And that's because Giddey at least embraces contact. He doesn't shy away from it. LaMelo, on the other hand, plays like he wants to dance around it. The problem isn't just unwillingness, it's also strength. After 5 years in the league, he still hasn't built the physical base that a player of his role and size should have. And that's not a fluke or bad luck. That's on him. When you're in year 5 and instead of getting better, you actually get worse. That's a red flag. This isn't just a dip in form. He's literally at the bottom of the league when it comes to finishing efficiency. And that's why it stings. Fans have been waiting for that leap, for that aggressive version of LaMelo who takes over games at the rim like a superstar. Instead, what they've gotten is a player still stuck in the same bad habits. But let's be real, this isn't all on him either. Because when you look at the kind of teams he's had to carry, it's actually insane. His so-called best teammates have been an unstable mix of guys like Miles Bridges, Terry Rozier, and a still-developing Brandon Miller-Rars. That's not a playoff core. That's a team barely hanging on in a stacked conference. When fans compare this to what Luka Doncic or Trae Young had around them, it's not even close. Their supporting casts look like mini super teams compared to what LaMelo's been surrounded with. So yes, it's unfair to pin everything on him. But here's where the story takes a twist. For the first time in years, there's actually a glimpse of something real being built in Charlotte. You can feel it. There's a sense of structure that wasn't there before. Culture, chemistry. And yes, those things sound cliche, but they matter more than people think. When all the vets showed up for the rookie signings, it wasn't just a photo op moment. It was a signal. A signal that this franchise might finally be ready to do something right. If Miller can get healthy and keep developing, if Donovan Clingan or any young piece in that mold hits their stride, if this bench can find some rhythm, this team won't just be a joke anymore. They might not be competing for titles next season, but the foundation of something competitive is finally being poured. And we've already seen what happens when LaMelo actually gets to play in a semi-functional environment. Remember that one season he played over 70 games? He made the All-Star team. They won 43 games. He proved he can be part of winning basketball. He's not some empty stats guy like the haters claim. But for this next chapter to work, both sides need to step up. The front office needs to give him a team that actually fits. A roster that complements his playmaking and doesn't leave him carrying broken pieces. But just as importantly, LaMelo himself needs to evolve. The defense, the careless turnovers, the inconsistent shot selection, they've all been real issues for years, and the league has caught on. If he wants to be more than a highlight machine, he's going to have to embrace the dirty work, the contact, the grind. This is a defining point in his career. He has the talent to be a superstar, but the NBA doesn't hand that title out. It's earned. If LaMelo Ball wants to be the guy, this is the moment to prove it. And maybe, just maybe, this new Hornets direction finally gives him the platform to do it.